Hi there, let's start learning about the info panel. So the info panel is right over there. If you don't see it, you can always go to Windows and choose Info, or the shortcut right there. You can pull out the panel, drag it to anywhere. If you hold anywhere on this gray area or even on the name, you can just drag it out anywhere. You can collapse it there, or you can even put it along with the other tools. Once you see this blue thing or there, wherever, then you can just put it down there so it's connected there. You could also see all the options either by going here and choose show options, or you can press this small icon, 2-arrow icon next to the name right over here, and just press on it twice or a few times until you see the whole thing. You can also just double click on the window itself anywhere in the gray place, and that will do the same job. So the info panel is meant to give us a live information on whatever we're doing or going to draw on our board. You probably already noticed that as I drag along or move around my cursor, you can see all these values, the X and Y values over there changing as I'm dragging. It's with many tools, not with all of them, but a lot of the tools it's the same thing. The X and Y values start at the beginning of this artboard, so this top left edge will be 0.0, as you can see there, 0.0, and then as I go to the right or down it goes plus, and if we go to the left so it's minus, and the top as well. It's very similar to the rulers. You can check out the lesson over there. If I press Ctrl Command R to bring out the rulers. Sorry, let me just move that so you can see it there as well. From the artboard, that's where 0 starts, and anywhere up or down to the side, that's minus values, and that's plus. So I can use this info panel if I want to know where to start. Say I'm drawing a square or any other shape or tool, I can know where to start exactly based on the info panel. So I can make it start there, and I can also see how far out I'm stretching on the width or the height of the object, as you can see it right there. If you want to get more exact measurements, so as you can see it's quite hard to get the same exact measurements. I can go for like 50 on the X value, and you have to like really try hard to get there. You could do view and choose snap to grid over there. What that does is it snaps to the grid. As you can see now, the numbers are so much more rounded and easy. It like snaps straight to the grid there. I can't start on a unrounded number. What it does is it just uses this grid. If I show the grid, so it uses these grids. You can change any of these grid measurements as we learned in another lesson. You can check it out there. So it actually uses this grid. It only allows me to draw within any of these squares. So if I want to start on this one, we'll snap to the closest one possible, and it won't allow me to start right in the middle. So it rounds it up. So the cool thing is I don't actually have to show the grid. I can choose high grid and it will just work as well. It snaps to this grid, the invisible grid. And you can see I can get much neater numbers over there. As you can see, my measurements here are in millimeters. It could be anything, depends on what your document unit is. You can always change it. You go to File and choose Document Setup. You can choose millimeters or any other units from here. Or otherwise, in your Properties panel, you should have Document Setup as well. There you go, Document Setup. You can choose it from there. Or this will change it only for this specific document. If you want to change for all other documents, then you can go under Edit and Preferences. Probably in a Mac will be under Illustrator Preferences. And Units, then you can change it there from millimeters to any other measurement you would want. You can also see a lot of information on an existing object from your info panel. So you can choose on any object. Then you'll see these X and Y values compared to the artboard itself, and the width and the height of this object. Here down below you have a few more options. This is the fill color and this is the stroke color. So you can see it either, you would be able to see it either in CMYK or in RGB. Those are different color modes. It depends on the color mode we chose here. So you can see here if we choose CMYK or RGB, and we'll have these values here as the RGB. You can also see it under color window. If you don't see it under windows, then color. So you can see it here. You can change this to any other HSB, CMYK, or any other color mode. So you can see the colors here as well. And it's also for the stroke. So as you can see, this is 000, that's black. You'll be able to see it for any other color here just as well. Unfortunately, there is no option. It doesn't show us how thick the stroke is. So I can have a very thick stroke and it would look just the same. Can even change the color here. So you can see there's absolutely no difference. It doesn't show any thickness. For that, you have other windows such as Windows CSS properties or document info. These they show all these options there. So from this one you can get, this is meant actually for designing websites and these things. So you can see the location, the size of the stroke, the corners, every single bit of information here. You can see the hex value, all of that. You can copy it. So that's a lot better with Windows. But this info panel is just meant for us, like as designers, so we can just get a quick help and we can see while we're doing a live orientations and sizes as we drawing or changing the object. Down below here is the hex value of the color. So you can't select it, that's also a problem, but then you can just put it in the color panel, or say I get this color picker from this, double clicking there you can get it, and then you can put in the color over there so you can get the same exact color if you want. That's just easier. It will also help us when we're using the pen tool, say when you have other drawing tool, then you can see you can use this to select the first dot, and once I did one dot, then you can see it now shows this. D is a new one, either depth or distance, however you would want to call it, and angle. That also shows us which angle we're going on. So you can choose it there, and then every new line it will start once again. See the depth or the distance and the angle of that line. You can also use the transform panel. If you don't, it should be by this icon. Otherwise, you can get it from Windows and choose transform. So you can see here there are some options. There's the angle here as well, and you can choose a few stuff from here. The problem is that you can't see it live as you're drawing. So on the info panel you can see while you're drawing, on this thing you can't. On the transform you can't. There are a few things though that you can do on the transform and not on the info. Say you can type in a angle here in the transform panel and change it from the panel itself. And like the info panel, you can't change anything on the info panel. Also on the transform panel you can see a anchor point as well. It also gives you information about that anchor point, as you can see here. On the info panel, unfortunately, we don't have that. You can use the info panel also once you created an object, or if you have any object on your screen, then as you move it, then you would also see all these details here. You can see the distance from the original place, how far away it is, and the angle. You can have some other information. Each depends which tool you use. So if you use this rotate tool, let's say, you'll get information on the rotate tool on the angle. If you use the scale tool, you can also get some information. As you can see, the new width and the height compared to the old one. So you can use this also as your reference. The share tool also gives you how much you're changing this compared to the first one. Also, if you're using the measuring tool, it's under the eyedropper tool here. You can also see the distance and the angle and all of that there. I think even normally when you open the measuring tool, then this info panel comes out automatically. You can also see some basic stuff when you do text. As you can see there, the text font and stuff, but in InDesign there's so much more information you have in text. Also, generally in Photoshop, you have a whole load of information in the info panel. You can see each tool, what it's used for, and what you can do with each tool. So it's so much better, but I hope one day they'll bring it into Illustrator as well. So that's as far as the info panel goes. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. If you gained anything, please give a like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, ideas, tips, questions, or just anything you want to say or add, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.